Hi guys, it's Blackie and welcome back to the Mastering the Canteen Cup series. Yes, we still got a lot more videos to go, and I'm sorry that I haven't been posting them every day or every other day. I know a lot of you are really enjoying this topic and want to have more info, and there's a lot more coming. The thing about it is I got to stage it out a little bit because I got other commitments I got to do as well. So just hang with me. We're nowhere near done with the Canteen Cup cooking. In this one, what we're going to discuss is measuring, okay? Whenever we're going to the field and we're going to be working with a canteen cup, what we're carrying to eat. Now for the most of the stuff, like your big old dehydrated meals in a bag, we can eyeball that. You do the canteen cup 3/4 of the way, halfway, whatever, full of water, and you're going to pour that into it to top it up to whatever stirred up, seal it up, let it sit 10 minutes and open up, see if it's about right. If you need just a little bit more, you can stir it in or whatever. And so that's where you've got a reservoir of hot water, adding it to something, adding it to the liquid. And for the most part, that's the way it goes. But what about when we're doing something a little more compact, and it's going to be where we're going to be adding the water, bring the water to boil, and then add something to that water, where once we commit and we've dumped it in there like grits or oatmeal or something like that, that's it. That's all the hot water we got. So how do we measure that? How do we set up? Well, the Pathfinder cup, you look inside of it, it's got a series of measurements right there. Now they don't go all the way to the bottom. They go down to about right there, and this is as far down as they go. But it's marked in like 400, 600, 800, I think 1,000 milliliters, which is 25 ounces or 28 ounces, whatever it is right there. I ain't got my glasses on, but you know what I mean. Right there. Now that's fine when we're doing things like instant mashed potatoes and stuff like that, because through trial and error and experimentation at home, I know how much water to put in here to bring to a boil, and then I'm going to dump my mashed potatoes to it and stir it up to not have too soupy nor too dry. Okay? But how about something like oatmeal? Well, there's two ways you can approach this. One is you can somehow practice and mark on your cup to know a given amount. Okay? Another way to do it is by the dipstick method. And the dipstick method is, at home, I have practiced. And I figured out about this much water equals what I want. I can take my spoon that I'm going to be carrying with me and mark it with a notch or something to know that that's the proper depth. Now I can hold it like that and add water and fill it up to that mark and know that's the correct amount of depth for X, right? So I can actually take a Sharpie and there on the thing put a, let's say a O for oatmeal, or I for instant potatoes or something, and have like a different way of measuring to know the correct amount of water, because it's a twofold thing. One, the clean potable water we're kind of limited to right now. I'm going to be toting a Grail to refill this. But if you're not, and you're having to use tabs to process your water, that's a time-consuming thing. And so if I've stopped at some sort of water source, I'm probably using wild water, you know, creek water, whatever that I've filtered through, whatever, to boil and therefore sterilize it, so I can then make my instant mashed potatoes, whatever, and preserve my pre-made up drinking water, right? So I need to have a method. The dipstick method of marking something to go in there works very well. And I learned that trick from an old U.S. Army vet who was a Korean War veteran. And he had taken the U.S. Army mess kit knife that they issue, and in the back of it he had put notches with a file to show different depths of how many cups of coffee or how much instant oatmeal or instant grits It was a given amount. So he knew how that much and no more was needed, and he boils just that, dumps it in, stirs it up, and he had instant grits or he had instant coffee, whatever. It was a depth method. Another method that you can use, if you got something like this backpacker pantry that we get from Dakota of the Woods, he uses clear bottles in his. You just got to squeeze and work them to the top. And so I could measure with this, couldn't I? If I was carrying this along with it. So I could put a mark on here for oatmeal. And then I'd have a couple of packages of oatmeal in here, right? So this would be how much for a single serving. This up here would be a double serving. And I practiced that at home ahead of time with my canteen cup on the stove, making, you know, make a lunch, make a breakfast, whatever at the house on my day off. And then transfer the measurement to this. So therefore I know that I open this up, take out the paper package of oatmeal or grits or what other thing. And then I fill this up there as my measuring cup to pour into my canteen cup, so I'm not wasting water, but it's the right amount for me to dump into and have it pre-set up. See what I'm saying? The object of the game here is, one, not use any more water than we absolutely have to. Use the correct amount of water so it's neither too soupy nor too dry for us, and it's fulfilling what we want. At the same time, we're not wasting water. If I go and just eyeball it and I dump and I put way too much water in my canteen cup, and I go and dump my oatmeal in there because I thought I had 2 packages and I opened it up and I only got 1. Well, now I've got oatmeal soup, don't I? It's not what I wanted. I wanted thick, hot oatmeal on this cold morning, not soup to do. And so I can't pour off. Well, I can. I could pour off before I add it. But once I add it, I can't pour off hardly, because then I'm losing components. So, in conclusion, come up with a dipstick. Learn the measurements inside the cup if you have a Pathfinder cup, which is what we're using for this series, and is a really good choice. But learn those measurements, and then remember that little bitty notebook I told about for setting up your canteen cooking? Mark in there how much water it takes to make X. So when you forget, you know, dang, it's been a long time since I've made chili mac, we'll say. And how much water did I put in there to boil the macaroni before I added the can of chili? Look it up. You know, there's how much you used. And you can keep a running tally for it. Another good idea, if you're using some sort of pantry to bring your stuff in, is like on the package, like that oatmeal package I'm talking about that would be in here. Why not go ahead and write on the oatmeal package how much water to add? A third, a half, or whatever a canteen cup is. That can be a way of measuring. And if you need something more precisely measured, because it requires a half a cup of this and a quarter cup of that or whatever, you can use a spoon as a dipstick, as long as you mark it, to go down in there and tell you that's the correct amount of water, so you can, in the field, combine these things and properly cook it. Over time, you'll develop it where you can just do it by eyeball. But to prevent you having some messed up meals, and that's the part we're trying to do here in mastering the canteen cup, is learning how to do it correctly, do it easily, and do it right the first time. Homework is to come up with some way of measuring, either by the container, the package, or a dipstick, so you can measure how much water to add in to the pot to create the correct meal. That's one of those steps people don't talk about. And when you go see these videos of people, well, I'm making up whatever, and you see them dump X amount of water in and dump this in and everything else. It's just like any other cooking. That's the reason we have recipes when we're talking about cooking. Because it's not just throwing random components together. There is a ratio, there is a mixture, there is a way to do it to make it turn out right. And so even the water needs to be measured so it turns out right. Hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. There'll be more coming up very soon with the Canteen Cup Mastery Set. It's coming up. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.